Hey guys, today I'm just going to quickly go over the new Mirror's Edge Catalyst game. Now, it's taken me a while to do this video just because of the fact that for a while I actually just had to sit down and think about this game because there were so many things different and things that stayed the same to where for the longest time I was trying to figure out how to put into words on how this game is really basically unique but same at the same time, and I finally was able to figure out why I still like the game, but why I had issues with it. First off, I'm going to say I am biased because I am a fan of the original Mirror's Edge, and so I kind of already put this game almost on a pedestal. So I try to reel that back in for Catalyst. So first off, let me just say that the original Mirror's Edge, the best way I'm going to start this off to like give you an idea from my point of view is imagine Mirror's Edge kind of like a child. It's a good child. They mean well, they're good, and they did their best, but they're still a child. They're inexperienced. And then years later, fast forward, we don't see this child for a very long time, and then all of a sudden they're an adult. They're older, they have a bit more experience, and and Catalyst is basically the adult. And they've changed, they're no longer the same child as we know, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just made it feel different, and you still deep down miss more of the child than of what you see in front of you. And this is kind of how I personally feel of Mirror's Edge Catalyst compared to the original. Was I kind of miss that part of Mirror's Edge, the original one, as opposed to Catalyst. And the specific thing that I miss of the original one is the indie feel. And that's a weird thing to say because, a lot of games try to move away from the indie feel, but I love how it felt very indie compared to now, to where Catalyst, it almost felt like they're trying to force a AAA title feel to it. And I don't know if that's really what Catalyst should even feel like. I do prefer it to feel more indie, even though the animation is, people can argue about the animations because I know some people like the style they did in the original one, others hated it, and but I kind of like the original. I didn't mind the style. Now it's just straight up cutscenes that are really, the graphics are good depending on what you played on, of course. I actually really enjoyed the graphics on Catalyst. So they actually did do a lot of improvements. The gameplay feels a little bit smoother to me. The animations are great. I mean, they look gorgeous on my screen. And, the story, oh my god, the story is a lot better on Catalyst than it was on the original, which was one thing a lot of people were really begging for. And so, because of that, we figured that with all these so-called improvements, we would all prefer Catalyst, but yet I'm finding a lot of us still grasping onto the original Mirror's Edge. And they did try their best because they did try to address a lot of things that we personally were complaining about. I know a lot of people wanted the more open world feel, which we finally did get. It's not the huge open world feel, but it's a lot more open world as opposed to the original. So why, we're still having this issue, and I think it's primarily because of the forced AAA title feel is the reason why it doesn't stand a chance against actual AAA titles. And it also pulled away from indie, so it's in this awkward area of it doesn't fit in either category. It's an indie game that's trying to like kind of be cool. It's I feel like it's Mirror's Edge Catalyst is almost pretending to be something it's not, and that's kind of what I'm getting the vibe from it. And like I said, I do enjoy Catalyst. I had fun. I don't really see myself actually replaying it though, because I don't know, I just don't feel the need to do it, as opposed to the original Mirror's Edge where I replayed it. Oh my god, I replayed it several times. So that's kind of like my feel and my vibe from it is I primarily blame it on the fact that they're trying to pull away from the indie feel roots of it. And I kind of don't blame them because they want to sell a lot, but I feel like they kind of went about it wrong because indie games can sell, and this is where I think companies seem to underestimate the indie games because they actually can do amazing in sales. It just depends on how well the game is. It doesn't need to have the best graphics or anything like that in order to sell, and I feel like they were more worried about the looks than they were the actual what was given to us in the sense of what the original fans wanted. Now, this is coming from someone who's played the original, so I actually really don't have the opinion or the view of someone who is going in their new. Their opinion they can be completely different from my views, and I don't blame them because I have the the thought process of someone who's played the original. And so I'm going to compare it a lot to the original. And it was nice of them to make a lot of hints and references to the original ones. We have Icarus and Catalyst, who's a character, but in the original it was called Project Icarus. We have, they kept the basic story plot the same. The characters, Krugersek, and, they have Noah, and they just changed a lot of parts of the story. But overall, they really try to make it feel like they're really trying to push for this game in this new age of gaming. However, I feel like they didn't really succeed in that. Like I said, I feel like it's just in this very awkward middle ground of it doesn't belong in indie or this AAA feel. It's kind of just stuck in the middle, and I feel that it's gonna have to tip either way if they continue this. I wouldn't be surprised by how it ended. But they kind of had to get on the ball with that, where they had to decide either go back to the indie feel or just keep pushing forward to the AAA feel. Personally, like I said, I prefer the indie feel, but I kind of wouldn't mind the AAA feel. But I just know if they do that, I'm gonna draw more and more away from it, honestly. But in the end, it's not that I don't like Catalyst. In fact, I do like it. There were a bit of problems with it, but overall, I do enjoy it. The story was better. The open world issues were addressed. There's also the multiplayer time trial things you can do. Whatever. I actually really didn't do that. I actually did focus primarily on the story, but I do like Catalyst. I love the original. Which one do I prefer? I kind of will be lying if I say if I prefer Catalyst, because I don't, honestly. They're kind of on even ground. If anything, the original kind of won my heart a bit more, even though a lot of issues were addressed in Catalyst. So that's kind of why I have very mixed feelings about this game. So I'm actually really curious as to what you guys think about this game. I know for me personally, it's the fact that they pulled away from the indie feel is why I wasn't as in love with Catalyst as I was with the original. And so this is just my thoughts on this. So tell me what you guys think, and have a great day.